How's it going? Welcome back to a very special video today. I'm very excited to be talking about Hogwarts Legacy once again, sitting back down a year later looking at Hogwarts Legacy. This is my Hogwarts Legacy 2024 review and analysis, diving deep into everything that this game has to offer, and I'm gonna try and make this not a super long video to respect your time. I'm not Luke Stevens over here making 8-hour videos to maximize that ad revenue. Don't get it twisted, I'm actually trying to give you a quality video essay, so I do hope you enjoy, but I'm just so happy to be talking about Hogwarts Legacy because I think it's a fantastic video game. It's not perfect, and in many places it's actually kind of shit. So I'm just gonna call it how it is, how I see it. Remember, this is my own personal perspective. You can have yours, that's fine. So keep an open mind and let's dive into the magical world of Hogwarts. Oh, hurry up there, young buckaroo. It's time to go to Hogwarts. Yes, that's right, you filthy little mudbloods. Welcome. Now, if this does not prove that I'm a sad, pathetic Harry Potter otaku, I don't know what does. So, I don't think there's anyone more qualified than me to give you a deep analysis on Hogwarts Legacy. So let's go before we miss that choo-choo train, boys. Seriously, someone send help, I need help. If you're new to the channel, which is likely, do consider subscribing, by the way. It only takes you 2 seconds, simply 2 seconds of your time. That's right, just 2 seconds. Just a little button, you just press it. Thank you very much. Honestly, it means absolutely everything to me, but if you are new, we do gaming analysis, yearly reviews, and philosophical videos on this channel, so become a wise one and join the wise community today. Become one of us. We are growing, we are passionate, and I just love this channel so much. I'm so happy just to be talking with you guys, and now recently I'm trying to transition into full-time, so if you do find yourself enjoying this video at all, then please do consider supporting me, because I can't do this without your support as a smaller channel trying to do this full-time, so I really do need your support. So consider dropping a donation. That means absolutely everything, and you are just so awesome if you do that.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
So first, I just want to gush about my credentials over here and just Harry Potter and the franchise in general, okay? So if you don't know anything about me, I'm a British-born Englishman, yes, that's right, living in Japan now, but I am from the UK originally, and the only thing that I really love about my country, to be honest, is Harry Potter. I wish I could grow out of it, because, you know, will I still be listening to Harry Potter and reading the books when I'm 40 years old? Maybe. Is it shameful? I don't know. You know, everyone can love different things. You don't have to be ashamed of what you love. Just be proud of it. But honestly, Harry Potter means so much to me, and what's so special about it is, you know, kids can enjoy it, adults can enjoy it, and actually there's some very deep themes in Harry Potter, hence why it's so popular. It's, you know, a world phenomenon. It's literally everywhere. In Japan, people are crazy about it. There's dedicated shops. You know, J.K. Rowling really hit something special when she wrote Harry Potter, and that's because it taps into moral themes.
Good people and Death Eaters. We've all got both light and dark inside us. What matters is the part we choose to act on. That's who we really are.
And that's because Harry Potter is not just a simple story about good and evil, it's about virtue. It's about tapping into the deep metaphysical understanding of what is morality and how we can triumph and basically overcome our own personal demons. And it draws a lot of heavy inspiration from old tales that have been told to us, you know, since the beginning of human storytelling, pretty much. So it's very fundamental, and that's why Harry Potter is so successful. And I'll talk about that more at the end of the video if you do like that kind of thing. And the reason why it means so much to me is I literally grew up, you know, listening and reading the books, and I could relate a lot to Harry Potter, and I'm sure a lot of people could, and especially as a kind of scrawny British boy back in the day, I related to it a lot. The creativity behind the Harry Potter series is just, not something we get very often. This world feels alive, and although it's a world of fantasy and magic, the crazy thing is it feels so immersive and believable, and I think that's why it's so successful, and that's why I love it so much.
Not Slytherin, eh? Better be Slytherin! Panic! Thank you.
It just has so many nice themes of doing the right thing, justice, and, sacrifice and all that kind of stuff. And it's just great storytelling. All the characters feel so alive, so fleshed out. There's just so much detail. It's a story about a boy who thought he was basically unremarkable, and then realizing that he can be remarkable and he has a huge impact. And, that's a big thing, that anyone can have a huge impact on the world. And that's why it means so much to me. I don't want to get all sentimental and start crying over Harry Potter over here. But I just wanted to give you a brief background. I absolutely love it. I know all of the details. So, of course, when Hogwarts Legacy came out, I could probably take a PhD in it, okay? I need help. And I actually, for once in my life, tried to stay clear of all of the, hype and all of the previews. I just went in blind because I wanted to enjoy it. And when I first played it, okay, I've got to be honest, I literally screamed with joy. It's very embarrassing to admit it, but I was so happy because I was walking in Hogwarts. I was exploring the castle. The first few hours were just absolutely incredible. I hadn't felt like that since, playing games as a kid, like the old Fable games, for example. And it reminds me a lot of that older, kind of lighter RPG style of game, which I'll talk about more. But it just meant so much to me, and it was such a great time. And I just enjoyed the first couple of days playing it so much. But, after a few months, I did start to realize, okay, this is still just a game at the end of the day. It's got the magical coating, the magical chocolate coating of Harry Potter, but is it actually a good game? So that's what I'm going to find out today. This is Hogwarts Legacy after the hype, Hogwarts Legacy 2024. Is it worth it now? So like I said, I really do hope you enjoy this Hogwarts Legacy 2024 review and this Hogwarts Legacy analysis 1 year later. So let's just dive into this and go through all of my different notes here. I'm going to go into positives and negatives, but with a lot more detail compared to my early reviews. So I'm going to start off with the obvious positive of this game, okay? And that is the amount of love and craft and detail that went into this game. So the people behind this actually cared about the, source material. They actually cared about Harry Potter lore. Like sad bastards like me, they, really did their research. There is so much detail, there's so much attention in Hogwarts itself, and even in the surrounding world, just things down to the animals, down to the plant life, herbology, all of the different classes, all of the different spells, all of the different locations within Hogwarts actually make sense, and you can now truly visualize what it would actually be like in Hogwarts. And when I was reading the books, I had to fill in the gaps, and yeah, it was just such an amazing job I think they did with the actual detail. And I grew up playing the older Harry Potter games, the PS1 Hagrid meme.
Been some very strange goings on of late. Be careful, Harry.
If I saw him, I wouldn't even run away. I would just go straight in for a goddamn bear tackle with that polygon bastard. So the first big negative as an actual game, okay, and that is what we're analyzing this as, a game and a narrative, because that's what games are. They're interactive, pieces of entertainment and narrative storytelling that we can actually engage with, not just passively watch. That's why they're amazing if they're done right. Sadly, Hogwarts Legacy could have been so much more. But I'm still happy with the game we got. I absolutely still love it. But if you took all of the, themes of Harry Potter and Hogwarts out of it, if it was, just called Legacy Castle and not Hogwarts Legacy, for example, maybe then it wouldn't be very good. But without the love and attention, Hogwarts Legacy wouldn't be nearly as interesting. And that is where it first fails, I feel, is with the characters. That is the first negative. None of the characters really interested me. I never once felt like I met, you know, a Lupin, a Hermione, a Ron. Sebastian Swallow was a great character, and that's only because all the other characters were pretty shit. So that's the only reason he stood out. I also like that little blind boy. He was quite fun to just kind of bully and piss off. I was a Gryffindor, by the way, but I was doing kind of a Gryffindor turn to the dark side type playthrough. But if you want to be a real nerd and actually know what I actually align as, because I guess I am sad enough, I took the real test to see what house I would be in, I am a Ravenclaw, because knowledge.
Honorary member of the Dark Force Defense League and 5 times winner of Witch Weekly's Most Charming Smile Award. But I don't talk about that. I didn't get rid of the band and banshee by smiling at them.
But the characters just had sloppy writing, and I know, you know, these are supposed to be kids. Kids aren't very interesting, let's be honest, and they're pretty annoying. But in the books, they don't really feel like kids, because J.K. Rowling never wrote this story for, you know, kids, as it were. She just wrote it because that's something that she liked doing, and then it just blew up out of nowhere. So all of these kids in the books have a lot of stuff going on, you know, they're much more complicated and they're much more rational than actual dumb teenagers a lot of the time, which is the only unrealistic thing about it, I would say. But none of the characters really stood out to me. They were all, you know, either goody-goody or very bland, very, you know, one-dimensional. This goes true for the main characters and the side characters, the ones that you would get quests. The little annoying Deke, my little itchy Deke, was pretty goddamn annoying as well. Just none of them had that charm and personality where you wanted to hang out with them, you wanted to form relationships with them. And also they missed a big opportunity because a lot of it is just solo adventuring. They could have added a feature where if you are, you know, friendly enough with a character, your classmates, for example, you can actually have Sebastian as a companion. Of course, that's been done with mods, but they did miss a big chance because a whole part of this, you know, going to Hogwarts is the student-to-student sim-like, you know, relationship that they could have made an actual gameplay feature. The same with, you know, the trophy at the end of the year, the House Cup. They completely, you know, missed all of that kind of gameplay system. Even the older Harry Potter games had, you know, a kind of point system for tracking your house. So they just could have tied that in with much more better gameplay design, in my opinion. Those are just 2 small examples that they could have done that in. But pretty much they just talk at you. You can give them basic flavor text. It doesn't really matter. There's no real big choices in this game except for a few. And they just all seem very clean. And if they got someone to work with J.K. Rowling to create a story for Hogwarts Legacy, or maybe the second one, then this will be absolutely mind-blowing. So now let's talk about the gameplay, okay, the meat and potatoes of this lovely game. And by the way, if you are enjoying this Hogwarts Legacy 2024 review, make sure that you are subscribed if you haven't done it already, and you're very naughty. I'm going to deduct house points if you haven't, by the way. But the gameplay in Hogwarts Legacy boils down to a few things: combat, exploration, and questing, pretty much. That's it. And all of these kind of side mini games that you can engage with. Now, luckily, the combat in Hogwarts Legacy was something I was afraid about, but it was so good. They handled it very well, and actually it can be very challenging if you want to play on harder difficulties. It can actually be a quite difficult game, which was very refreshing to me because I thought it was just going to be one of those games like Batman where you just press one button and it just wins the fight for you, pretty much. No offense to the Batman games, but Hogwarts Legacy actually requires parrying, good timing, dodging, pulling off special moves, and switching, you know, from one spell to the next. And there's actually a lot of different combos that you can pull off. You know, you can Wingardium someone up into oblivion and then just make them an icicle and then shit on them with a goddamn explosive barrel. Some pretty cool stuff, to be honest. And you can do lots of different chain combos, throw the, you know, axes from the goblins back at them, disarm the wands of the enemies with Expelliarmus, all of that great stuff, okay? Classic Stupefy, all of the great spells that you would know and love. They even added Flipendo. Yes, my lovely Flipendo is back. So the combat was actually good. I never really had a problem with it. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but you already know what it's like if you have played it, and if you haven't, then that's pretty much the basics. It's a very good system. I do wish they added more spells so you could do even more crazy combos, but switching back and forth between the spells, between, you know, your pre-loadouts, that was the only thing that was a little bit finicky. And, you know, on PC it was okay, but on console it was quite difficult, I have to say. And then the other side of the combat is the leveling up system. I was very unimpressed with the perk tree. It was pretty terrible, to be honest. They never really felt like they added much. It never felt like you were getting super overpowered, which is what I would have liked to see. It certainly didn't feel like you were creating your own, you know, character. Pretty much your playstyle will be the same as everyone else, and they could have really, you know, fine-tuned that and made it more of an RPG, similar to Cyberpunk or something like that, where you have so many different branching paths, and you can only allocate, you know, certain points, so you can't be, you know, a master of everything. But in Hogwarts Legacy, pretty much you can. And yeah, the upgrade system was just not that interesting. If they went the route of Skyrim, and perhaps the more you use the spell, the more, you know, ability points you get in that certain spell, the more you do Quidditch, the more you fly around, I mean, the better you are at, you know, actually flying. You don't need to just grind for upgrades. And that is where the gameplay falls flat on its face. It is a little bit of a mobile game in some regards. Like, for some reason you have to wait for things to be made on a timer, like potions, which is pretty stupid if you ask me. And then when I leave the place, like in the room of requirement, I never go back there, because why would I? It's pretty annoying. So I forget I even, you know, have potions on standby. And there's just a lot of finicky mechanics where you have to grind or do a certain action a certain amount of times just to progress. That kind of stuff really held the game back, if you ask me. The next thing was exploration. Now, this really blew my mind when I first started playing. Like I said, you know, exploring these desolated castles, these caves, going into undead catacombs. They were always so exciting. But sadly, once you had done, you know, 1 castle, 2 castles, 3 castles, you had pretty much seen all of the castles. And the same thing for the dungeons, the underground caves. There are some unique ones that you can unlock by doing, you know, special puzzles in Hogwarts itself, like the kind of passageway into Hogsmeade and stuff like that. Some pretty cool ones. But a lot of them are just the same, and that was a big shame to me. You just got, you know, random loot at the end of it. And some of the puzzles actually surprised me, because they were actually difficult, and I couldn't even figure out all of them. Maybe because I have a very low IQ, I guess. Maybe because a troll dumped a big old duper on the side content, the glorious side content, where you can fly into balloons, because that's a fun time, and you can collect Merlin seeds. Honestly, the Merlin trials, again, they were super cool to begin with, and they gave you more infantry space, which is what you really need in this game, because the infantry space is annoying, and micromanaging this terrible loot system, that again is frustrating. You know, I love this game. I absolutely love it. I think it's a great game, but I'm just giving you a critical analysis of this game, you know, without the lens of hype and love for Harry Potter, which I clearly have. Those things really held back the gameplay for me, but the combat was just so good. The enemy variation was pretty good. You know, you get trolls, you get wolves, you get goblins, little dirty goblins. I wish you could attack house elves, but you can't do that, because it's that, you know, we have to respect that they are gender neutral. You get inferi, which is basically undead zombies pretty much, and dark art wizards. But a lot of the humanoid enemies kind of play the same, and you only get a few variations on each, like a berserker and stuff like that. So I do wish they had more, and the attack patterns were a little bit more randomized. But all in all, the combat didn't really get boring, but the exploration elements did, and that was a real shame, because I absolutely loved exploring the castle. The castle is still great. There are so many hidden secrets in Hogwarts. You know, you can get swallowed up by a statue of a frog and get spit out somewhere else. So many cool things like that. But the actual world itself has pretty much recycled content of caves and castles and only a few variations, so that did make the exploration feel stale. But of course you can't really expect anything more in an open world game, especially a Hogwarts open world game, and this is their first game like this, these developers, so I'm absolutely blown away. But Hogwarts Legacy in 2024, is it worth playing still? That's what I really want to find out. And honestly, as much as I love just going in, you know, I don't really feel like creating a new character. I just like exploring the world. Once you've seen the secrets in Hogwarts, that's pretty much it. There's no like replayability because it's not a proper RPG. And the exploration, like I just said, you know, it's good for your initial playthrough, but it's not really the kind of game that you can play tons and tons of. Now, you know, that's going to depend on the person. Some people will still find things and enjoy the small little changes here and there enough, but for me, it's not enough. But the questing and all that kind of stuff, that's where the real good content is. That's where the other gameplay element is. Don't focus too much on the, you know, exploration because, like I said, it does get old. In the castle, it's great, but in the open world itself, it does, you know, get reused a lot, which is a big shame. And open world games in general, it's not just Ubisoft, they all need to address this. They all need to make dynamic gameplay, you know, similar to like Elden Ring or Zelda Breath of the Wild, or even Skyrim to a degree. I know they do have reused assets and reused you know, content in them, like caves and stuff like that, but still, there's a dynamic gameplay and flow with a lot of these games, and they need to build on that to evolve open world games in the future. That's just my little recommendation. Take it or leave it, I guess. So the side content, yeah, it's not great. You know, basically popping balloons, riding around on your broomstick, and and popping, you know, balloons in the sky gets old pretty quick. The same thing with, like I said, these puzzles. A lot of them are cool, but the Merlin trials, even they get reused and they aren't all interesting. But some puzzles in just random dungeons, they are actually a lot of fun, and that is where the variation comes in. But a lot of this kind of mobilification, is that a word? I don't know, I'm going with it, of these gameplay elements, like, you know, having a timer, you know, doing like a chore list just so you can unlock a, you know, spell for something. That to me was where it was pretty annoying, and it made the gameplay feel just padded out and not in a good way. The questing, on the most part, was pretty good. Some pretty boring quests, like fetch quests, of course, exist in this game, and it does come down to the characters not being that interesting, so I wasn't super engaged with all of the questing. But the main story had me intrigued, but again, that's something that fell flat on its face, which I'll talk about. But the premise was super cool, and they had such a cool villain. This woman who basically started out as a virtuous person. You know, it has good story ideas in it, you know, having this woman kind of fall from grace, this witch who wanted to use ancient magic to help people, but in the end she got kind of corrupted by its power. She should have been the main villain. I really don't care about the stupid goblin or this random, like, I don't know, Tom Bombadil character, top hat kind of magician guy. It's just not interesting. And they could have, you know, brought back her in spirit form or something. That would have been far more interesting, and it would have felt much more Harry Potter, you know, destroying pieces of her, kind of like you would do for Horcruxes in Harry Potter. Just a lot of missed opportunities, if you ask me. So now let's talk about the fact that there is no goddamn Quidditch in the game, okay? A pretty shameful act, if I do say so myself. As a young weird lad, I have many fond memories of avoiding summer and going outside and being a blood-sucking vampire and going over to my family relatives and just sitting in the corner playing Quidditch Harry Potter, okay? And they had Quidditch even in the movie tie-in games. They had a standalone Quidditch game, but honestly, they were fun as hell. And I understand why they didn't implement it, but honestly, it's very, very shameful that they didn't, because Quidditch is such a magical feature. You know, you have this whole new sport with, you know, actual immersive rules that make sense, and they just completely neglected the fact that, you know, they could easily integrate Quidditch into this, have a full tournament, and that would have added so much more to the gameplay, and that would be actual good padded content, but instead, we just got balloons. Now let's quickly talk about the dark arts, because that was something I was very excited for, playing as a dark character. I mentioned Fable earlier. If you don't know anything about that game series, I did a updated kind of philosophical analysis on it. If you want to go check it out, not many people did compared to my other videos, which is a shame, but I absolutely love the Fable series. It's kind of a light RPG, and it reminded me a lot of Hogwarts Legacy. And Hogwarts Legacy reminded me a lot of Fable, simply because of its moral implications, which I'll talk about more at the end of the video. But sadly, that was never, you know, something that existed in the game. They could have added it. That would have made the game so much better. Having NPCs react to your quests, having them react to you doing dark arts or rumors of you doing the dark arts. You know, having a morality system akin to Fallout 3, where you get bad karma or good karma depending if you use the dark arts, but no reactions, no shits are given at Hogwarts in the past, I guess, because law and order just doesn't exist. You know, I understand why you can't blow apart students and just go and, you know, destroy innocent farmers. It would kind of break the story, but again, if it was a true RPG, they would have a dark storyline and a good storyline, but sadly, it just has little branching paths. It never actually goes, you know, one way or the next. So it's not a full RPG, and that's where this game misses a lot. You know, you can't even hit another student with a spell. They have no reaction. You can't do on-the-fly duels. And I love that about even the old shitty movie tie-in games like Order of the Phoenix, where you could walk around Hogwarts and just, you know, fight with other students. That felt so cool. They just had so, you know, it's such a big game. I understand, you know, they had to focus and niche down on their ideas, and I still think it's a fantastic game, but there's still so much room for improvement, so I really hope they take these ideas and implement it in a sequel. Another big positive is, like I said, the detail here, the world. I love the physics of the little cloaks that flap about. They are very moist. I like the water. It's very cool. I like how you can break apart barrels. It just doesn't get better than, you know, being able to pick up a barrel or pick up a cow and turn it into a barrel and then explode the barrel, because I'm a sick man, I guess, and I get satisfaction from just stupefying or flipendoing cows off cliffs, okay? But so much detail. I love how the seasons change with the storyline. That's so cool. You can get the nice Christmassy feel that Harry Potter is known for. You can get summer, you can get fall, you can get winter. All of that stuff I really appreciated, and I think they did a great job on that. The world design and the level design is just great in this game. They just kind of messed it up with the padded content and with the RPG gameplay elements and the storyline a little bit. But the storyline was never so bad that I never wanted to continue. It had me intrigued, but it just never had the payoff, which was a little bit disappointing. And a year later, looking back at Hogwarts Legacy, I can see, you know, all of the errors, but at the time I was enjoying the hell out of it because I was still in the, you know, Harry Potter universe. I was in Hogwarts and doing this storyline, you know, becoming my own wizard. That was so cool. But I just wish they added more stakes. The only real stakes I felt in the story was with Sebastian and his storyline. They could have fleshed that out and made it a full storyline. That would have been so much better, and have, like I said, the spirit of this kind of fallen witch that you are learning about as you learn about ancient magic come back. And also you do have to think that they did kind of have to supplement some of the characters for some ESG points, because J.K. Rowling is a naughty for having real opinions around science. No. I'm not gonna go and say Hogwarts Legacy is woke, okay? It's so stupid, and I really don't want to get into that argument, but, you know, anyone can enjoy this game. You know, please don't feel like left out and get so offended that you can't enjoy Hogwarts Legacy. If that still is an issue for you, then I don't know what to tell you. You need to go touch grass. You actually need to study and learn about things, get some wisdom maybe behind you, because that whole drama was just completely stupid. And even if you disagree with J.K. Rowling, that's fine if you do, but just, you know, talking about objective reality and having your own personal opinions about something, that should not be a crime. And it's just ridiculous that the amount of drama and attention this game got on release, and it's just, yeah, it's a real shame. Another few things I want to highlight as positives is the attention and love for Hogsmeade. Hogsmeade, I always imagined exploring, and they did such a good job with Hogsmeade. I have to say, you can go into the shops, you can taste, you can eat the candy, and you can do a little levitation. Do I wish it was a little bit more interactive? Do I wish there was more things to interact in the actual world itself, in the Hogwarts castle itself? Yes, of course, I wish there was more of a NPC interaction as well, but still, the detail in Hogsmeade was good. The fear you felt in the Forbidden Forest was also good. Do I feel like they missed out and it was just filled with a bunch of spiders instead of all of these crazy, creatures that you hear about, like werewolves and stuff? Of course, but, like I said, Hogwarts Legacy can't have everything, and it has still so much more potential for a sequel, so I really hope they do build on it and you fight dragons and all this kind of stuff. But honestly, Hogwarts Legacy was a great game, and even if it wasn't for the Harry Potter theme and the Hogwarts theme on top of it, I think it would still be a good game. Sorry if it's getting a little bit dark. I've been blabbing about Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy for a long time now, so the sun is receding back into the heavens. So let's quickly talk about the Room of Requirement and the building mechanics in Hogwarts Legacy for this Hogwarts Legacy 2024 review. I have to say that because otherwise the YouTube algorithm will never give me any love, most likely. But I really do hope if you are still watching, enjoying this Hogwarts Legacy analysis. It means a lot if you are watching. Like I said, if you are and you enjoyed this, please do consider dropping a donation, because that's the only feasible way I can actually exist as a YouTuber right now. So your support means everything to me. I'm just so happy to be talking about this. So let's talk about the final thing, the transfiguration stuff, and then basically the moral complexity of this game and where I wish it did go and where it did go. So the Room of Requirement was a tacked on feature, I felt like, and for people who love customizing, building houses, games like Minecraft or Valheim, I can understand why they wanted to highlight this, but honestly, it wasn't detailed enough. Yes, you could, shrink your furniture, make everything tiny, you could personalize it, the colors and the themes, that was all pretty cool, and it was very detailed, but it wasn't, like a proper building mechanic, and I think most players don't really engage with it, and the same can be said with the animal taming system. I didn't personally engage with it. I never felt like I needed the resources to farm from the animals, but I know some people will absolutely love that, but I personally just felt like they could have put their attention more on other aspects like Quidditch instead of this feature, and that would have made the game so much better. But that's just my own personal perspective. If you love this gameplay feature, that's fine, but honestly, they could have just added more to make it a better RPG, and then making it a better game, and then making it a better Harry Potter game, not just because of the, themes and attention to detail, but actually build on the RPG systems that would elevate it even as a Harry Potter game. And Hogwarts Legacy missed the chance, I feel, by trying to appeal to this kind of mobile market where basically you farm resources from these creatures, you build stuff over time, but it never felt like truly rewarding. So is Hogwarts Legacy worth it in 2024? 100% yes. This game is still a gem. I'm still enjoying going back in my old play file and play save file and, just discovering more secrets in Hogwarts. But honestly, I don't think it has much replayability to it, because like I talked about, the RPG elements are lackluster and the combat is still good, but again, that does get repetitive once you've unlocked everything. Maybe play it on a harder difficulty. That really does change the combat for me, playing it on a harder difficulty. But honestly, as a game, the first proper Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy open world game, this was fantastic. They just need to improve on all of these things to make it perfect. No game is perfect, but they did an amazing job, and it's a very special piece of media that we can actually, engage with, living in this world. And if they really build the storyline, then this could really be a piece of high art, but it's just under that as a good game at the moment. And for people who are still upset about Hogwarts Legacy, just keep crying. I could go on, talk about, you know, like how it's so cool to see all of the houses and their little sleeping areas and all that kind of stuff. That is one thing that replayability might offer you is, you know, when you first start out choosing your house, you do get a kind of different story mission to begin with, and then you can enjoy the common room, but that's pretty much it. So, you know, you can easily just do that, but then it's not really worth continuing the whole game just to see that. So, you know, I kind of switch back and forth just to see all of it. But honestly, just so much detail, like all of the plants moving, the picture frames moving, the ghosts interacting with each other, the armor sets, you know, moving, how they're described in the game. But, you know, instead of these added tacked on, you know, like objectives that you have to complete, having things like wizard's chess. The books are literally screaming at you to expand on this, so I really hope they do that. So now let's finish off this Hogwarts Legacy 2024 review analysis and discuss Hogwarts Legacy 1 year later, the moral complexity, and if the story overall was actually worth it. So I already talked about a little bit how Harry Potter was a story about virtue and, you know, basically accepting your fate, which goes back to a Stoic principle, amor fati, the love of fate. Harry Potter never shies away from his destiny, and he, you know, faces Voldemort even though death is quite certain. And it's about bravery, it's about friendship, and overall, yes guys, it's about the power of love. Very sappy, but also very true in this confused world where everyone is so divided around different opinions. You know, we can all come together and understand that we are basically all the same, so most of it is pointless, what we're fighting about. Harry Potter just has strong themes throughout it, and Hogwarts Legacy just failed at, you know, capturing that type of storyline. And even a basic storyline of good versus evil, you know, where the gray area is, like Sirius Black says, you know, everyone has good and bad in them, but it's how we choose to act that defines us. And they really had the potential with this, you know, fallen witch who got corrupted by ancient magic. She used it to help her sick father, I think it was, and other communities around her. And then she just got more and more power insane. They could have built on that storyline because that is where the theme is. That is where the, you know, core of Hogwarts Legacy could have been, and that would have been so much better. They also could have done it with a karma-based system like I talked about, but sadly Hogwarts Legacy misses that theme. It doesn't have RPG strong roots enough to have two divergent storylines. It just has little branches. You know, it has to have more reaction to the player and their actions, you know, having NPCs talk about your questing and what you're up to, stuff like that. That could have made this kind of moral theme come together. Having a karma system that actually interacts with the gameplay systems, that would have been so cool to see. But sadly, it's basically just a story about, you know, a weird kind of overgrown kid who has ancient powers and is basically trying to destroy the bad guys. And that's a real shame.
Professor Weasley, we've one more to be sorted.
You belong in Slytherin!
Now, before we end this video, I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much for watching the video, and I want to give a shout out and thank you to my recent supporters. This has been over the last month, and maybe someone before who has helped me out. If it wasn't for you guys, basically I wouldn't be able to take risks and make this type of content, which I don't know is going to perform well in the YouTube algorithm, if it will get a boost or not. And this means a lot because then I can talk about stuff that I really care about, not only cover games that I know are popular, because I like to do a blend of both on my channel and other subjects. So I just want to thank Daniel, who has been supporting me, and just a big thank you to you. Zeno, the producer, who makes some great music. Go check out his channel. Thank you for supporting my channel. Mr. Pong, who has been a member for over a year now. Dr. Douche, who's also a member. Nico and Yugeto. Thank you for being members and sending support my way, if it's dropping a thanks or a donation on the live stream. And I'm just gonna quickly take this time to say to anyone who's watching, for my audience or anyone new, I do a live stream show on basically Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for Americans. So I stream basically Japanese time on Thursday morning, Tuesday mornings, and Saturday mornings. So make sure you join the live show. It's a great community there that we're building. It means a great deal to me. So thank you so much. And before we end this video, a quick final shilling. For those of you who don't know, I actually make music. That's how I started this channel. I make electronic synth music, Purple Nova being my most popular song. So go give it a listen, give it a try. It's a new take on the electronic genre and synth genre. I'm currently working on a soundtrack, which I'm very pleased about, but by listening to my music, that's another great way to support me, and it just means a lot because I love my music and what I'm doing with it. So give it a chance. I'm sure you will actually like it a lot if you like soundtracks from something like Cyberpunk or Blade Runner, for example. Okay, thank you very much. So there you go, that is Hogwarts Legacy in 2024, the full Hogwarts Legacy analysis 1 year later. I still think Hogwarts Legacy in 2024 is a masterpiece, and there is still lots of things to find in this game, but maybe it's not worth starting a complete new game, but that doesn't mean that it's not worth revisiting. I said this video wasn't going to be super long, but I'm just so happy to be talking about this after, you know, really diving deep into this game. So I'm sorry if this was a long video, but I hope I gave you lots of useful information and you enjoyed this one. If you did, like I said, make sure you are subscribed and hit that notification bell. I never ask, but you might as well. And thank you so much for watching. I had a blast talking about this. My voice is very sore. I'm gonna go and drink some butterbeer, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day or night. Peace out.
Thank you.